Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to today's Spring Equinox mini reading event. We're going to spend the first half really just diving into this time, creating a little bit of a ritual for ourselves. And then we're going to spend the second half with an opportunity for anyone who wants to receive a mini reading. You will be able to volunteer for that. You don't have to do it. And I'll let you know when that happens. At that moment, you will be invited to put your name in the chat if you want to receive a reading, and you can ask a question or you can ask for something more open or more general. And before we dive in today, I just want to say welcome and thank you and happy equinox. And I just also want to introduce myself in case there's some of you who haven't really interacted with me live before. My name is Xenia. My name means many things. One of the things it means is kindness to strangers. It also means ritualized friendship. Both things coming from the feeling that we are always interacting with a divine being across from us, and we should act accordingly. My name is Greek, but I'm not Greek. I was born in the Philippines, and I have been living here in New York since I moved here 2 weeks before September 11th in 2001. And a lot of what I am sharing today feels very hot off the imaginal press. I wrote a lot of this morning and last night, and I really just feel that this is a special, important time for compassionate, imaginative people to call upon the support of their magical selves and to offer the support of their magical selves into the world, because not everyone has such a broad imagination as you have. Not everyone has such a desire to find a way to love the world, or that kind of childlike nature that refuses to accept things exactly as they are. And that calling that you feel, it might feel like little dreams or even like hobbies that you have in secret sometimes, but it to me is important. It changes the fabric of space-time when you feed and nurture that part of yourself, and when you do it in the timing with the earth, which is, which is a part of the cosmos. You are hooking into, connecting to that web of magic, and you are helping the whole world remember we are interconnected. And that feeling brings us a lot of responsibility, but it also is a form of abundance. It's a great form of abundance. So I just want to thank you for like being up for stuff like this, for being here, for being born. I want to thank you today for being born as we enter in the rebirth of our new astrological year. So if you're not driving, I want to just invite you to let your eyes close for a moment, or if it feels better, you can just keep them soft and focus down at the floor, and just take a few deep breaths. Just noticing the places in your body that are calling for that breath to be received. Imagine that breath is like a life force. And when you bring it into that part of the body, imagine it becomes sparkly and full of life. When you exhale, imagine that you are releasing every form of work and labor and exertion and effort that doesn't need to be there. Let's give yourself permission with that exhale to just let it go. I'm rocking back and forth between this inhale that fills us with warmth and life force, and this exhale that is permission to release all grasping. Find that still or center point between breaths and focus on your heart. So as you inhale, you're focusing on the places that want more life. As you're at that still point, you're focusing on the heart, and in your exhale, you're just letting go of all focus, all of everything. And as you rock back and forth between doing this a few times, imagine the earth is breathing with you. The earth is expanding and taking these same breaths with you. Maybe you can almost imagine the pulsation of the earth breathing under your feet or at the base of your spine. Just imagine your breath is saying hello to the earth's breath. And you're breathing in the same rhythm. And then imagine the whole of the cosmos, the multiverse, the universe, however you imagine it, the wholeness of all that exists is also breathing with you. Maybe it feels good to imagine it like this giant breathing organism that you're inside, moving with you. And as you take your next breath, start to invite yourself into a deeper form of softening. Is there a place in the body that can relax even further? And then on your next breath, start to let your focus sit in the center of your heart and start to imagine you are able to sit in a circle of all of us together, and that all the beings that love you, that want to support you, maybe it's just aspects of you, your higher self, your inner child, your inner elder. Maybe you work with the beings of nature or the stars. Call this council, call them in, and imagine them encircling you. Maybe we also call in the council of the earth, the earth's council, the earth's guides, the earth's support team to gather around the earth. And as you imagine yourself sitting a circle of this kind of love, just give yourself permission in this now moment to release anything and everything that doesn't need to be here right now. Maybe it was never yours, or maybe you just don't need it. Maybe you've outgrown it. Without even needing to identify, just imagine that those things releasing out of you, going back to the place in this world where they are most loved. And set the intention for today, perhaps a silent intention, letting whatever wants to arise in the center of your heart. Now give us a few moments. And in the center of your heart, imagine lighting a single candle, representing your devotion to being who you are. I ask that all the work we do today and throughout this time together be for your highest good and the highest good of all those connected to you. I ask that we be led by the heart and by love above all. And take one more deep breath in your own time. Sighing it out if it feels good. Maybe you want to shake it out or move something around in your body. And then take your time to just gently let your eyes flutter open. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for doing that with me. So today I was looking at this kind of sequence of events that's been going on in the cosmos. Today is the equinox, this midpoint between the winter solstice, where it's the most darkness, and the summer solstice, where there's the most daylight or light. And it's this like still point or midpoint of equal day and night, of equilibrium. And I was really looking at this. I was really thinking deeply about it. And it started to feel like this really important chrysalis moment where we are in this like midpoint of having been in a chrysalis for a really long time. And how I kind of came to this is through looking at the story that's being told in the skies. There's actually, I'll go to this other slide. Monday, the North Node joined the sun. The North Node is where we're called collectively to sort of grow into. It's uncomfortable, but we're growing into the North Node because it's helping our souls evolve. So right now, the South Node is in Virgo, the North Node is in Pisces. And it's kind of the point of these nodes, which are the points where we will experience the eclipses for most of the year, is that they are this consistent rebalancing point. The South Node represents, we've done this, we know how to do it, it's easy for us, it's a blessing, but it's a little too comfy. And the North Node is like, I'm hungry to learn, but it's deeply uncomfortable. So what is that Pisces North Node about? Right? What is that Pisces North Node calling us to? Well, Pisces is a lot about oneness and transcendence and poetry and feeling like we are one organism, like in our bones, feeling like we are one divine organism. And the North Node connected to the sun on Monday. So the sun is like, who am I? What's my vehicle? What's my purpose? And then yesterday, Neptune conjunct the sun. And Neptune, what is Neptune? It's the dissolver. It's the dissolver of the veils between the layers of dimensions. That's why it brings us dreams and inspiration, but also like, what's real? What's not real? I don't know. It's that like euphoria of the vision. And I just thought it was so interesting that this would all happen right before the equinox. In the same month, we're going to have our very last Aries eclipse, which is going to be the 29th. In the month where Neptune moves into Aries, where it has not been since like the 1870s. So my brain is going, what is going on with this Neptune Pisces to Aries moment? What is happening here? What is the story that's being told? And I started thinking about how Neptune on our sun is like, the sun is like, I am here. This is who I am. I'm ready to do it. That Aries, it represents that kind of like solid self. And Neptune is like, is it? Is that who you are? Are you sure that's who you are? Do you maybe want to like make some of those hard outlines a little softer? Do you want to let some of that hard paper dissolve in the water? Do you want to turn this thesis into a poem? Give yourself a little more space to exist because we're going into the astrological new year on the equinox. So, do you maybe want to dissolve some of what you're so sure is so true about you before we start this new year, which happens to be this balance point, this midpoint? So, I'm looking at this, and there's all these like astrologers like, Neptune and Aries. Neptune is like delusion, and Aries is like passion. And there's all this like scary kind of like passionate delusion is going to collectively take us over. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I like that story. And I'm thinking, is it more that we are asking to have a rebirth of our identity that is more aligned with our spiritual nature? Is it more that our passions are being brought forward, and what keeps us from being that passion, those passions you had as a kid, is going to start making us angry? And will we maybe no longer have the tolerance to take that anger out on ourselves and take that anger out on each other and say, like, this is a spiritual kind of passion. This is a passion that belongs to the heart of humanity, being like, I am here. I'm awake. I am not going anywhere. I will not live in a heartless world. I refuse. Um, and then, but it's also like this moment of balance, which we think of as like very neat, like a look at our balanced design. The colors are so balanced, the shapes are so balanced, the checkbook is so balanced. Like, and what does balance really look like? Like, what is it in real life? Like, like, is it actually a still point? Um, and I'm like looking at all this and I'm thinking about all this, and I've been thinking a lot about the butterflies and how the caterpillar turns into the butterfly, and thinking about that for a long time, and how weird it is. The caterpillar's like, I'm done. I'm done being a caterpillar. I'm going to go into a different form and just kind of sit there in my goo and dissolve myself. And how that just feels like it mirrors this time, and how that passion can almost only be harnessed in the most soulful, articulated way when we allow that stillness, when we don't rush the process, when we don't rush the process. We are being helped by Neptune and the sun to say, what can I let go of so it can be transformed? What can I stop identifying with? So I say famously in all the containers I teach, I don't like moving my body. I hate it, blah, blah, blah. Yesterday, I was like walking with a really good song in my headphones in the park, and I was like, oh, I love moving my body. It just hates being told what to do. It doesn't like being told, you're going to move now in this way. And I was like, oh, okay, that's a different story than I've been saying out loud for the last 4 years to everyone I know. That's not true, what I was saying. It's just not true. And today feels like a beautiful day to let things go, not in this like violent, like, I'm done with you, you're so bad kind of way, but like, I just don't really identify with that the way I used to. I just don't. And so I started thinking about how the equinoxes are these midpoints. They're like, I'm not going in one direction or the other. I'm in the very middle. And because I'm in the middle, not because I'm pushing away the experience of life, and not because I'm clinging to this outcome I need to happen, because I'm not attached or resisting, I have access to everything. I'm at the intersection of all roads. And I feel like that is what the chrysalis caterpillar does in that moment. It's like, I don't really know what I am yet, but I know I'm not what I was before. And so I could be anything. Could I be a being that knows how to fly, even though I lived my whole life on the ground? I don't know. I don't know yet. But let me calm myself down. Let me support and soothe myself because I'm in this process. I'm committed to the process. By letting go of forcing an outcome, the commitment to the process feels easier because it's not all on me. It's already happening. It's just happening. So, you know, I was looking at all these different things and the astrology, and I started thinking about how a lot of people I know are going through these like relational situations, relational dynamics. Venus in retrograde. Mars was in retrograde last December, all the way until I think early this month or last month. Venus went retrograde on March 2nd. We're in Mercury retrograde now. And it's kind of like, hey, something bigger than you is evolving. All these outer shifts, these deeper psyche shifts are happening. You don't need to do all this external wiggling that you're trying to force. Can you stop and receive the new energy upgrade? Will you just let us do this? Will you just let the energetic thing happen? And I think a lot of us are learning about our passion and our courage and our fire. And in that awakening, we're noticing where we've been playing really small in our friendships. And because a lot of us do that, and relationships and in general, because we're all doing it, all my people tend to be very like empathic. So it's not even like just the one friend has always played small. I don't think it's like both people have realized how they thought to be in relationship, they had to be tiny. And they're both awakening to that not being true at the same time. And I feel like, Pluto power just went into Aquarius last November. And to me, that's about like, everybody has the power, okay? No one's going to hoard that power. We're not doing this who has the power in the relationship thing anymore. No, we're not. But we don't know how to do that yet because we've never lived through it before. How do we share? How do we decentralize power in our one-on-one relationships? How does that impact Mercury, how we think, how we talk, how we collect data? How does that impact Venus? How we relate to each other? Justice. What does justice mean now? What about like our values? Do our values shift? What's happening? And so, yeah, we're in a kind of complicated recipe. It's like one of those ones your friend sends you the recipe and you're like, oh my gosh, let me wait till I have a couple days. It's a big recipe. It's a big recipe. And one of the beautiful things as a lifelong nerd, let me see. No, that's not the one. Is I've been thinking a lot about how this midpoint, this zero place where we identify with nothing and everything, how it's actually like really mirrored in the physics of our reality, right? Like quantum physicists, when they do the math of life on a micro scale, they find that when you empty out everything we know about, anything that you could detect, there's still energy there. That's called 0 point energy. So you can't, in the nothing, there's something. It's almost like pure potential has been mathematically articulated by these quantum physics. And they came up with this beautiful term, quantum foam, which is like at the nothing, there's this like churning froth of possibility. And it's exciting. but it requires this like getting what feels like nothing, which we've been taught to fear, this like nothingness, almost getting to that nothing so we can tap into that potential, that kind of quantum foam, and surf it, start surfing on it. So if you're uncomfortable, you've been uncomfortable, if you've been extra tired, if you've been like, are they mad at me? Am I mad at them? I don't know. Maybe I don't even care. If you've been like, I'm so excited to start this project, never mind. I want to hide in a cave for 3 more months. Like, I think you're just really intuitive. I think that that's all that's happening is you're just feeling the change. You're part of the change. So the question becomes like, what is your responsibility? What do we do? To me, like, it's like a really cheesy, simple thing. If you are a vessel of divine love, are you including yourself in what you shower love on and within? Because if you're not, you are separating yourself as different and special in a way that doesn't benefit you. What you perceive everyone else needs, you also need, which is just a form of acceptance for who you are. I put this Instagram story up yesterday. I took it down because I got embarrassed, but I was dancing to this song and I was like, oh my gosh, my whole career is just telling people they're allowed to be who they are. Wow. Okay. Simple. Okay. But we don't feel like that, do we? Otherwise, why would we need to be talking about this? What's up with that? Are you weird or is the world weird? I don't know, but I have a bet from over here. I think the world is going to start showing itself how little sense it makes, and that it's always made no sense, and that bending to it doesn't work because it's not viable what we got going on in the power structures that we live in. It's nonsense. It asks you to displace your heart and spirit and feelings to participate and be celebrated. No, thank you. No, thank you. And the hilarious thing is today, our rebellion, our quantum energy activism will be in stillness, to find that still point, to say, what is my imagination capable of in its biggest, frothiest, if I could just allow everything to dissolve and reemerge, what would that look like? Do I dare have such a dream? So I talked for longer than I meant to. What we're going to do is pull a few cards together. I originally was going to give you the spread that I just put out into the universe, but I just decided, wait, let me look at it. Let me look at it. No, we're going to stick with this. I may add another card. I want you to pull out your deck. If you don't have a deck, then you can work with a book. If you don't have a book, you can meditate on this and let something arise, or you can actually find a lot of like interesting digital oracle tools on the internet. So if you're in that position and that's all you got, you're welcome to do that. We're going to just take a second to pull some of these cards and get some messages for ourselves to use your own magic, to use your own divine connection, to tap into what you're becoming and what your soul wants to do right now, and to get a few clues from your own magic, because why not? So let's just take a second to shuffle. Actually, let's shuffle in a really special way for today. I'm going to invite you to take whatever divination tool you're using, and if you're not using one, then just focus this towards the messages that you'll be receiving intuitively, and close your eyes. I like to shuffle the cards how you would normally shuffle them. And then I want you to, after a few shuffles, actually pause and take these breaths with me. I want to invite you to inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath at the bottom, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Last one. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. And let it go. And I want you to imagine that that pause between breaths, the energy of that is coming through your hands as you shuffle. That place where you are not in the inhale or the exhale. Maybe you picture that as like the energy of the void or the energy of silence or however it feels. Imagine it moving through your hands into your deck. And when you're done shuffling, I want you to pull out 4 cards and just lay them top to bottom. Hold them out however you normally do, or if you're working with a book, do one at a time, the pages. And the first card will symbolize what wants to dissolve. No way, Natalia. Natalia got the card identity. The second card is what card represents the archetype or energy I can embody to find balance. The third is what card represents a dream or vision that is asking me for my courage to seed it in the new dawn. And the last card is what card represents something I need in order to be supported in these times. Marissa says the Empress wants to dissolve, but that's what I want to embody so badly. That's interesting though, because maybe it's your idea of the Empress. I don't know. And then when you've got your cards or your phrases or your symbols from your own intuition, I'm going to invite you to write down a little bit if anything comes up for you. It's always in my practice to like write 3 phrases that come up to me for every card without like thinking about it at all. I usually don't look back at them until a lot later. So we'll just have a couple minutes to write what's coming up for each card. Feel free to share anything you want in the chat if you want feedback or support. You ever like pull cards and you feel like the whole universe is like teasing you? I'm having an experience with this spread. I'm like, are you for real? Not making fun of me, guys. Um, Sahara says, magician reverse for what wants to dissolve. Any ideas? Friends. I am using outside information, Sahara, because I've been talking to you, but I think that part of me just thinks that magician wants to turn right side up. Clara, I got 6 of Wands for what wants to dissolve, a bit unsure for what that means. I sometimes feel like the 6 of Wands is like the small goal has become like too important when the bigger picture is actually calling you, and what looks like, oh, I didn't get that thing I wanted, is actually because it was like too small or a distraction. Yeah, Sahara, that's interesting. Karen shared perhaps turning your magic outwards. I'm going to second Karen on that one. Has everyone had time to write down their phrases, or do we need a little bit more time? Juliet says magician might be a reminder you have inside you what you need. Okay, well, we're going to do a super short practice because I went way over time and we need to do at least a few mini readings. Um, if you're still writing, though, I don't really want to interrupt your process. So if you need more time, can you just type a Y in the chat? Thank you. Maybe we have to dissolve my structure. I feel like everyone's writing, so I'm just going to give a little more time. Bye, Hannah. Thanks for coming. I want to give an opportunity before we do this little practice. Does anyone have anything they want to share or they want support on? Marissa, Queen of Swords for card 3, unsure of that one. What card represents a dream or a vision that is asking me for my courage to see it in the new dawn? Queen of Swords. I have some ideas. Anyone else? I think someone's here to tell their truth. Abby, your own authority and inner gatekeeper. Karen, time to speak up. Telling your truth, I would say. Um, One of my friends describes the Queen of Swords as someone who cuts through the bullshit. So I just want to offer a moment to work with some of these energies that you pulled and just imagine when you're ready, just let your eyes close for one more time. I want you to imagine that as you're breathing into the center of your heart, taking a few deep breaths here, I want you to imagine that within that center of your heart is another center. And imagine then further, where's the center of that center? And go smaller, go deeper. What is the center of that center? And what is the center of that center? And when you've gone so deep that it feels like there's no more center to go to, as you breathe, letting everything dissolve, I want you to offer into this space, into this quantum nothingness, that which is meant to dissolve in your life. And if you don't understand the card, it doesn't matter. Just the intention of receiving support to dissolve what is really not aligned with who you really are. Imagine offering that into this deep, dark place. Just breathe. And as you breathe, start to imagine in this complete darkness of nothingness, this like little foamy, this place of threads bubbling up, new life bubbling up. See that quantum phone bubbling. And just imagine there's this little place, this little bubble that catches your eye, this golden bubble in that foam. And as you breathe, imagine in your next inhale, that bubble, that quantum foam potentiality is receiving that breath. It's getting bigger. Maybe it feels like a golden light. And on your next breath, let it go. Let that bubble go. On your next inhale, let that bubble get bigger. And your next exhale, let it go. Now let it be big as your whole heart, as big as your whole chest. Exhale, let it go. Next inhale, let the bubble be as big as your body. As you exhale, let it go. Now on your next inhale, let it be as big as the space you're in. Now hold your breath at the top. Let it go. Now imagine it is as big as your whole city. Let it go. One more time, as big as your whole city. Take a nice big inhale. At the top, hold your breath just for a few seconds. Let the bubble go. Now, as big as the earth. Let it go. One more time, inhale, imagining it as big as the earth, and then hold your breath at the top. Let it go. Now, release that image and start to imagine you are sitting inside your golden bubble, this vision, this new world, this new dawn come to life, and start to imagine that golden bubble emitting radiance and love out into the world. Maybe you picture it coming out of your right hand, out of your right hand. This golden vision connecting out into a web of other golden visions. In your left hand, you imagine receiving the thread of other golden visions aligned with your golden vision. If it feels good, you can put your hands out. Physically, because that helps me to visualize. And in the center of your heart, just imagine this perfect chalice, this perfect vessel that is just here to be a flow, to receive the flow of life, to give and receive the flow of life. And the gold within you that you are, out your right hand, received in your left hand, filling up your heart and then flowing out the right hand, going out into the world, returning to your left hand, filling up your heart, flowing out your right hand, flowing out into the world, into all these other golden bubbles, returning into your left hand, filling up your heart. On the next time you fill up your heart, now imagine that chalice in the center of your heart going all the way to the crown of your head, up into the sky as far as you can imagine. And imagine from the center of your heart, the chalice having a beautiful pouring into the earth, connecting into the heart of the earth, as deep into the center of the earth as you can imagine. And breathe into that open vessel, that chalice, that still point, that 0 point, just by breathing in the center of your heart. And in this moment, if it feels right to you, I want you to create a vow that you will offer yourself the support that you need to return to a state of balance when you need to, when you want to. And will you give yourself what you need in the chrysalis phase, in the butterfly phase? And if you feel like making a different vow, a different promise, please do. You're free here to be who you are. And when you're ready, just imagine releasing that connectivity, knowing all of the webs that you have shot out through your right hand and received through your left. They're all there. They're all still there. If you have your arms out, let them go, let them rest. And imagine the bubble that you created, so big, so wide, now just becoming this golden suit that comes close to your skin, almost like now it's become form fitted to your skin, and the gold is just covering you, shimmering off you in every direction. And the most important part of this, and this, as we breathe, just thanking all the energies that were here today for this ceremony, thanking the butterflies and the chrysalises and the caterpillars for teaching us. Thank you to the heart of that lives in you. See how you can feel when you just let it all go. What does it mean? How will it happen? What if you trust it's already been done? What if you trust the magic that you created today is going on in the way it needs to, and that you can close this portal, close this loop, let it go. And I ask that the work that you do to bring forward your visions align with the visions of a humanity of compassion and kindness and honesty and courage and creativity, and that you become the steward of that power, that beauty, that message. And let's just imagine we're releasing all the circle of love that surrounded us today. Thank you to the guides of the earth, the earth. Thank you to our own spirits, our own bodies, our own knowing. Thank you to each other. Thank you to one another, the community of microbes that make up your body, the quantum mystery that lives inside us. Thank you. Releasing this container, asking that all the work keep going and flowing in the way that is really aligned with the magic that you hold. If it feels good, you can close it with a word in your heart, something like, and so it is, or something that feels more you. I like to think of future gratitude. So I like to close with, I am grateful for what will be. I'm grateful for what is and what will be. When you're ready, you can let your eyes flutter open. I went totally off schedule, so thanks for doing that with me. Bye, Bella. Yeah, does anyone have anything they want to ask or have any questions before we go? We have 5 more minutes. And sorry I didn't get to mini readings. I'm really sorry, but I just feel like this is what we had to do today. And I don't know, sometimes I feel like your magic is more important. Sahara, yes. Can I show a pick on camera quick? Two synchronicities of a card that was picked. Thank you, Karen.
Okay. I hate being on camera, so I was like, I felt it was really important, but this is the card that popped out for me. I don't know if you can see it. For
Mhm.
the card 3, the card representing the dream or vision, and it's literally like the golden orbs that you were.
Oh, beautiful. What does it say, Sahara?
Sorry, this lighting is not really good down here. Maybe I'll try to put a picture in the chat. It's just 6 of stones, six
Oh,
of pentacles.
beautiful. Oh, beautiful.
It's the hands like with the golden orbs in them. So
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you, Sahara, for sharing that. Does anyone else have any questions or anything they want to share?
Good question. Hi,
Yes.
Xenia. Happy spring. I didn't have tarot cards, and I was wanted to actually buy some, and I was wondering if you had a recommendation, knowing my vibe.
Mm, I'm gonna think on it a little bit, but I feel like I've seen some. I have to figure out the name, but I would say for sure it has to be a Venusian. Here's my thing. Here's my thing. Um, I get some beautiful decks, and sometimes I cannot read them. And I'm like, it's so beautiful, but I'm not getting anything. So I really feel like when you look at the deck, be like, is my intuition giving me a message? Do I feel like the story is easy to read? And then because you're so Venusian, I do think it has to be beautiful. I don't
Right.
think it's gonna work for you unless it is. But I'll have a think. I'm feeling like there's some botanical ones or plant ones. But I will definitely give it a think, Tess.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Melissa recommends Spacious Tarot and they're stopping production. Marissa says, I'm curious how to access my intuitive clarity. I feel unsure of how to trust myself with anxiety. Um, Everybody's different with this, but here's what like is helpful for me. Like I actually get really anxious when I'm not creating. I don't know if that's just like an Aries impulsive person thing, but it's almost like I have fire in me and it wants to come out and I'm like, no, stay in here. I will hold you forever. And then it starts to burn me a little. So sometimes like doing a little creative practice with the thing that you're doing, just a practice thing, maybe it's a draft, you're going to show one friend or taking a step in that direction. Sometimes doing the thing you're scared to do weirdly like relieves you of the tension. Um, Karen recommends working with the mind needs the hands to relax. So making can be helpful. Um, but and Abby says, same with creativity, but mine's lava. But if I write, sometimes I'm like, oh, okay. Also, something really silly is like, if I'm really anxious about something, sometimes I need to go outside. Sometimes it's like just, I also music. Sometimes I'll be like, have you listened to 85 podcasts this month? That's cute. Can you just go listen to some music and walk around? Your brain is like getting full. Bye, Senya. Also, Sahara recommended She Wolf and Serpent Fire as beautiful Venusian decks, Tess. Um, okay. I want to just thank you for flowing with today because I went wildly off the rails with my plan. And yeah, thanks for being part of it. If you have any questions, just message me. I'm wishing you like a really beautiful equinox, and I really appreciate you a lot. Thank you for being here. Bye, everybody.